We actually are located about a 3-hour drive from where we're sitting here today in the Mother Lode Belt near Sonora, California. We picked the project up 2 years ago, and we've done a lot of exciting work during that period of time. When we first picked the project up, I thought it was one of those types of projects where you look at it and you say to yourself, is it really real? And so I sent a couple of geologists and a couple of engineers to the property. We went into the underground. This is an underground project. It was one of the higher grading deposits in the Mother Lode Belt. Stopped mining in 1916, not because they were out of ore, but because of a dispute. And then in 1917, something happened that's happening today, a forest fire. Burnt everything to the ground. So the project itself has sat there for over 100 years. It's very interesting. The stopes that were mined in the project, and we'll get to that in a minute here. The company right now is sitting with 37 million shares issued outstanding approximately, and we've got about 10 million warrants sitting there that, if they're exercised, will put another 1.5 million into the company's till. We've got a pretty significant board of directors that have been around a long time and have had a lot of accomplishments. Roger Young is an ex-fund manager. He lives on the Isle of Jersey. Kim Evans, who's just responsible for a 2 million ounce deposit in Nicaragua here, and she's joined the board as our chief financial officer. We've got Brian Ray, and I don't know if Brian's in the room right now, but Brian's been involved in multiple deposit discoveries and developments, one of them being the 12 million ounce deposit that Miramar put together. He actually has helped Kim with the 2 million ounce deposit in Nicaragua. So he's very good at modeling and engineering, and as a geologist, we're proud to have him on the team. We got Tom Kennedy. He's previously a lawyer, and we use him for his legal eagle. Joseph Caraba's just joined us as an advisor here recently, and he has a very, you'll see, an excellent past as far as his abilities goes. He was ex-president and CEO of Cliffs. Sat as a director on Newmont for over 10 years. I brought Joseph to the property about 2 months ago. We went into the underground at the 600 level, took a look, and his comment to me was, great project, great potential, love to be part of it. So Joseph's joined us as an advisor. Lee Grott, head of Earth Sciences at UBC. Before I ever pick up a project, I like to know the mineralogy, etc. And Lee is helping us with thin sections, etc., so we can understand how to liberate the gold. For the most part, the gold on the project looks like it's free gold. There is some connection with the iron oxide, but really it's pretty devoid of sulfides. So now we're going to get to the project itself. So when I picked the project up, we had a two-dimensional longitudinal cross-section that showed the project and basically what they had taken out of the stopes. The first stope that they took out on the project, amazing grades actually, 30,000 ounces at 15 ounces per ton, 50,000 ounces at multiple ounces per ton. They've taken about 250,000 ounces from this project. There are multiple mines involved here. We've been concentrating our efforts on what had previously been the main deposit on the property, but there are 6 of them in total. They're orogenic type deposits, 3 to 4 meters in width, almost vertically emplaced. We've done a wireframe on it. We think that the potential here is 1 to 4 million ounces of higher grading material. As I say, the old timers never touched anything pretty much less than an ounce. So I went in when we first picked the project up and we tested, took a channel sample out of the 600 level, which returned 46 grams, which is over an ounce. Not bad for something that's already been mined. So from there, we did a bunch of other things that are very important in the state of California. And by the way, you know, California is a great place to work. It really depends. I did most of my mining career has been in British Columbia, did a lot of work in Ontario and Newfoundland. And to be quite blunt, I'm actually surprised that everybody, for some reason, has a negative viewpoint on the state of California, because if you have patented ground, it's really no different than Arizona and Nevada. It's a great place to work. We've been very happy with the local residents in the area. They're very pro-mining. It's a resource-based community. So we've met with the State of California Sacramento Water Board on permitting, because we're going to have to do discharge. Currently it's flooded to the 600 level. And our testing so far, although it's not a state of California geologist, our geologist took the samples and we sent those samples off to a recognized lab. There were no issues with the water quality. These are very important issues, because you don't want to pick a project up and then find out at a later date that you've got EPA issues, etc. So we're pretty content with the mineralogy, etc. So when we first picked the project up to where we are now to date, a few things have happened over the last several months. Some of them are kind of funny, actually, and I'll get on to that in a second here. So when we picked the project up, there was an area that we referred to as the picnic area, and we were told it was waste rock. And waste rock, in my viewpoint, is the waste that comes from putting the underground tunnels in place. Well, we were in... About 4 months ago, we had one of the PhD geologists from UBC on the ground doing some mapping for us, and he's walking over top of what we thought was waste rock. And he happened to pick a piece of quartz up, and lo and behold, there's a gold nugget sitting in the piece of quartz. So he came back to the office and showed me, and I kind of scratched my head. And so then we sent the excavator out, and we did some trenching. We opened up that what is a stockpile sitting there, and we got some pretty decent numbers out of the first couple of trenches that we put in. The best number was 18 grams. Most of the numbers were between 3 and 4 grams, a little less than a gram. So since then, we've taken a second phase on the stockpile now, and we've put a perpendicular trench up, and we're expecting those results back in the next day or so. If those results come back as good as the first set of results, we're going to be looking further at immediate production of that stockpile. Size-wise, it looks like it's, and I have to caution everybody, we haven't got a proper profile on it yet, but we know the one side is 25 meters deep, the other side is 15 meters deep. We ran the first set of trenches. We'll do width and length. We did about 50 meters of 2 trenches, 50 meters, 50 meters. The trench that we've now run is about 80 meters in length. So you can do the math on that. We know the specific gravity is about 2.7. So that leaves us feeling as though there's potential for somewhere around 200,000 metric tons sitting there in this pile right now. The next couple of days, I guess, we'll find out the truth here when we get the results back from this last trench, but it looked as though all of the material that we just sampled from the third trench is all milled material, so it's been ground down to about an inch or so. Reprocessing that pile would be fairly simple for us. So we're going to be putting out some news here in the next couple of days on that, but the real excitement is why we picked the property up in the first place. This is immediate potential cash flow, but the second issue is the property itself. So the fact that they never mined anything that was less than an ounce makes it a pretty significant producer.